Hello there, new programmers. Um, I really hope this video will help give you a little understanding of some of the programming language and be patient in learning this. So let's imagine that we want to simulate rolling a die 20 times and seeing if I get 10 or more. So first of all, when you program, this is a way to sort of notate what you're doing without having it show up in the program. So I might want to do something like this. I might want to say something that counts how many tens I get. So I'll say 10 count. And I'm going to start that at 0. And I'm going to start that at 0 because, let's see, I have no tens at first. Alright, well, so then what I want to do is I want to roll the thing a bunch of times. But let's go one step at a time. Let's imagine that I just roll a die one time. So I'm going to say, let's define some variable, let's say dice, because that's going to be my random integer, or that's what I'm looking at. So my dice is a random, and notice as we're programming, it's giving us choices, so I could just click on that. My dice is a random integer, and it's a random integer that's going to be between 1 and 6. So it's good sometimes just to make sure things are working. So let me first write what this is doing. So that dice, this is going to assign a random value to the variable dice between 1 and 6. That's just standing for my, that's simulating a die. You know, just like there are 1 through 6 faces on a die, I'm getting the numbers 1 through 6. So just to make sure that this works, what I might want to do is just print, what I'm going to print is just whatever was on the die. So print dice. So let's see if this works.
That's what we felt last year, yeah.
So it looks like I got the random integer that it was assigned was 1. Okay, cool. So every once in a while you might want to just check to make sure it's working. So now what I want to do is I want to say if what? If dice is 6, so if the dice is 6, oh wait, I'm trying to see if I get 10 or more 6s. So if I get a 6 on my die, what I want to do is take my 10 count and I'm just going to add 1 to it. So whatever my 10 count was, I'm going to add 1 to it, and that's my new 10 count. So let's see what I've done so far. Well, in this line, I am checking to see if I got a 6. And what do I want to now, just to see how my program is working? Maybe I'll just print the following out. I'm going to print out, let's see, if I want words, your dice value is, and then I'll print out my dice value, and my 10 count is, and then I'm going to print out my 10 count. So this is going to say this is just doing one roll because I haven't done a while loop yet, but it's going to randomly generate an integer between 1 and 6, and then it's going to see if that value is 6. If it is 6, it's going to add 1 to my 10 counter, and then I'm going to print my dice value and then print my 10 count. So let's see what happens. So my dice value is 2. So since I got a 2, it wasn't a 6, so my 10 count is 0. Great. All right, well, now I want to do this a bunch of times. So let's do this. Let's say while, well, first of all, I need to make a new counter. Um, so I'm going to say counter equals 0. And this is going to count up to 20. So this variable here is going to count up to 20 rolls. So what we'll do is say, while my counter is less than 20, since I started my counter at 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 19 will give me 20 rolls. So while the counter is less than 20, I want to do all this. So I've already set up dice equals a random integer. If dice equals 6, 10 count. So it's going to print all this stuff. And then the last thing that I want it to do is just add 1 to my counter, so counter plus plus. So you'll see that I sort of I'm building this outwards. So I'm doing the little things first and then kind of adding the layers and layers to it. So hopefully this will work. Ah, cool. And what's nice about this is you see all of the iterations. So my dice values, so this is my first roll, I got a 6, so my 10 count went up. Then my dice value is 1, so I didn't add 1. I go down, 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 and all of a sudden I got a 6 again. So my 10 count was 2. And so I only, my final amount, my final count is 3. So that means I got 3 6s. So on this one case, when I rolled a die 20 times, I did not get 10 or more. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to think about rolling a die 20 times, many, many, many times. So I want to do this over and over and over again. I might want to do it like 1,000 times and see in these 1,000 rolls of 20, count how many times I get a 10 or more. All right, so what we're going to need to do is add another while loop. So we could say, wow, let's just create some other counter first. So let's say A is 0, and A is going to count up to, let's say, 10,000. And while A is less than, well, if we want to go up to 10,000, we'll go 9999. Well, it's less than that, we want to run this whole program. So we're going to set our 10 count to 0 again. We're going to roll it 20 times. So we'll run this whole loop in here. And then what we want to do is have something that counts if I got 10 or more. So let's call that a success to get 10 or more. And again, I'm just making these variables up. So I'm going to start my success at 0, and this is going to count if I got 10 or more. Okay, so I'm going to roll it 10,000 times. For each 10,000 rolls, or each 10,000 experiments, I'm rolling a die 20 times and seeing if I get 10 or not. So down here, I'm going to get rid of this statement or this here because I don't need it anymore. This was just checking to see if I was doing good work. So what I want to do, once I get out of this while loop, I want to say if if what? Well, if my 10 count is greater than or equal to 10, I want to add 1 to my success. And then I'm going to add 1a value, and that's going to bring me back up to this loop. So this will take a little bit of time to run now, but what we do is, so we're this a value here is saying, all right, this is going to count up to 10,000 times. And I'm counting the number of successes where I get 10 or more. So I'm going to start that at 0. So while a is less than 999, that's just saying I'm going to do something this many times. Let's start our 10 count at 0, and this is going to count how many. This title of a variable is pretty. It's a bad one. So this is just counting how many times I get 6s. That's really what it's doing. I called it the 10 count because eventually I'm going to compare that to see if I got 10. Anyway, so this counts the number of 6s, and then the counter equals 0. That's going to be what sort of does this while loop 20 times, which is going to simulate rolling the die 20 times. So I'm going to get a random integer, and I'm going to see if the random integer is 6, and if it is in fact 6, I'm going to add 1 to my 10 count, and I'm going to do that over and over again. And then if my 10 count is greater than or equal to 0, I'm going to add 1 to my success. And the final thing that I'm going to do is print. Well, what I'm going to print is the probability of 10 or more 6s when I roll 20 is, well, what is it? It's going to be the number of successes divided by 10,000. That's how many rolls. And that's the probability. Now let's see if it works. So we get the probability of 10 or more 6s when I roll 20 is 1 over 2,500. That's all right.